infrastructure in Pointe Claire. So when I was mayor from 17 to 21, we implemented a plan to be able to redo all our infrastructure to get it up to a satisfactory plus condition by 2034. That involved investing $10.2 million a year approximately in order to be able to touch all the streets. There's many criteria that go into getting a road done, and not only Pointe Claire. We're responsible for the top part of the road, but City of Montreal is responsible for the water infrastructure underneath, depending on the size of the pipes. So unfortunately, we have to work with them closely, and sometimes it's a budgetary thing. All streets are prioritized by the condition and the number of water main breaks coming up actively. There have been streets that were never on the list to be done right away, and then they incurred 6 water main breaks in one winter, and that would become a priority. So yes, it's my vision to redo all the streets. I'm finding and looking at different ways of being able to do it cheaper and more efficiently in order to be able to get it done sooner. Alongside with that, you obviously need the budgetary money there to be able to do it. So you have to create new revenues in order to keep up with the evolving costs of infrastructure work. And my goal would be to work on updating the industrial park, which generates a lot of new revenue, which can help us expedite the infrastructure work that has to be done. And it's not only road work. When we're talking infrastructure, we're talking about drainage and flooding issues too that are part of the infrastructure work. Can you outline your vision for future development in Pointe Claire? Every municipality has to have an urban plan. When I was elected in 2017, I was adhered to a plan that was adopted by the citizens of Pointe Claire in 2011, which was a 20-year plan. The future plan is in the progress now of being adopted, which Pointe Claire and all the municipalities have worked with Quebec and Montreal to adopt the new PMAD, which will come in effect in January 2026, which will be a 20-year plan. Obviously, as a mayor, I don't have the ability to decide you're going to build a building here or a building there. It has to be done following a very detailed plan, which I will adhere to, but my goal is in future development is to make sure that is done right and is what the citizens need. In the past 4 or 5 years, with all the development that took place, please do not forget the REM coming to the West Island and putting 2 stations in Pointe Claire expedited the desire to develop in Pointe Claire. And part of that expedition was done by a tax that the REM put on new development. And if a developer was to submit his plans between May 2nd, 2018 and December 2019, he was exempt from part of that development tax, which was added up to millions of dollars. As a municipality in those times under the law, we were not allowed to refuse a project that adhered to our zoning that had been adopted in 2011. That's one explanation why Pointe Claire development took off so fast. Moving forward, in hindsight, in some ways, it's good because the new numbers from Quebec and from Montreal for densification are actually higher. So I guess we can be grateful that most of it is already done in Pointe Claire. How will you ensure meaningful public consultation on major projects, and what specific steps will you take to make sure residents' voices are heard? I got into this game in 2017 in order to be more transparent and work with the citizens and understand their needs and their visions. Unfortunately, consultation on my mandate was slowed down because of COVID. We could not consult publicly anymore. I totally agree when it comes to a large project, something like, let's talk about the Fairview parking lot, that we should use a program kind of like what Kirkland did for their Lacey Green program. You form a committee, you have the developer, you have the citizens that appoint a president, and you bring in other citizens to work alongside all the other citizens that aren't on the committee to develop and come up with a project that's acceptable to everybody. I've totally agreed that public consultation is important, but there are rules and regulations as a municipality we have to follow because of confidentiality agreements and so on and so forth. But that being said, I am still going to try to find a way that everybody's voice is heard in a respectful manner in order to come up with the best projects for the future of Pointe Claire, under the conditions of what the citizens of Pointe Claire want and expect to have for the quality of life in Pointe Claire. So in 2017, when I won as mayor with 65% of the popular vote, I like to tell you some of my accomplishments. One of the first things I was able to do was get Pointe Claire out of the flood map when Quebec put us in there, and our houses on the south side of the city were basically worth nothing. I was able to get PCBs cleaned up on Hymas Boulevard. I was able to protect every green space in Pointe Claire that the city owned to stop any developers from being able to build on it. I bought the YMCA building on Brunswick and made that a municipal facility. I was able to buy the corner of Cartier and Lakeshore and turn that into a public square and stop 55 condos from going there. As mayor, I was proud of the accomplishments, and I understood that we have to protect the character and the quality of life of Pointe Claire. I'm looking forward to getting back in that seat to continue being able to build on all those great things that we had started and being able to again increase the quality of service to our citizens. I also look very forward to working with the council that's around that table in order to provide those services and make the best decisions along with the administration so that everybody in Pointe Claire benefits from the hard work and the great decisions we'll make moving forward. We have to think that Pointe Claire is not only for today, it's also for the long-term future, which I like to plant the seed for, along with the other past mayors that did, such as Mr. McMurtry, Mr. Trudeau, Mayor Knox. I think that that is my responsibility to leave a great foundation for the next incoming mayor in the future.